Detective Mark Lawson had been with the city's major crimes unit for over a decade. Known for his keen investigative skills and unyielding sense of justice, Mark had built a reputation as one of the best detectives in the force. But the city he served was changing, and not for the better. Corruption had seeped into every corner of the city's institutions, from the local government to the police department itself. Mark had watched his fellow officers turn a blind eye to crime, accepting bribes and favors in exchange for their silence. The once proud force was crumbling, and the criminals were growing bolder, knowing they had allies within the very system meant to stop them. Mark refused to be part of the corruption. He continued to do his job with integrity, but it was becoming increasingly difficult. His investigations were often blocked, evidence went missing, and his efforts to bring powerful criminals to justice were met with resistance from within the department. One night, Mark received an anonymous tip about a high-ranking official involved in a drug trafficking ring. He knew that if this information was true, it could bring down some of the most powerful figures in the city. But pursuing this case would put him directly in the crosshairs of both the criminals and the corrupt officials protecting them. Despite the dangers, Mark decided to follow the lead. He began gathering evidence in secret, aware that he couldn't trust anyone, not even his own colleagues. He worked late into the night, sifting through financial records, surveillance footage, and witness statements, slowly piecing together the puzzle. As Mark dug deeper, he uncovered a vast network of corruption that went far beyond what he had initially suspected. The drug ring was being run by a consortium of politicians, business leaders, and law enforcement officers, all working together to control the city's criminal underworld. The more Mark uncovered, the more he realized how dangerous this investigation had become. Word of his investigation eventually reached the wrong ears. Mark began receiving threats, and strange cars started following him home. His apartment was broken into, his files ransacked, but Mark was undeterred. He knew that if he backed down now, the city would be lost to corruption. Mark decided to take a bold step. He reached out to a trusted reporter at the local newspaper, someone he knew was as committed to the truth as he was. Together, they compiled a dossier of evidence and prepared to go public with the story. It was a risky move, but Mark knew it was the only way to expose the corruption and force the authorities to act. As the story was about to break, Mark's enemies made their move. One evening, as he was leaving his office, Mark was ambushed by a group of masked men. They beat him severely, warning him to drop the investigation or face the consequences. But even as he lay bruised and bloodied on the pavement, Mark refused to back down. The next morning, the city woke up to the headline, "Corruption Exposed." The untouchable syndicate. The story detailed everything Mark had uncovered, naming names and exposing the entire operation. The city was in shock, and the outcry was immediate. The mayor was forced to resign. Several high-ranking officials were arrested, and a federal investigation was launched into the police department. Mark's bravery and determination had brought the truth to light, but it came at a cost. He was hospitalized for his injuries, and his career effectively over. The corrupt elements within the force had been purged, but Mark knew that the fight for justice was never truly over. As he recovered in the hospital, Mark received visits from colleagues who thanked him for his courage. They told him that his actions had inspired a new generation of officers to uphold the values of the badge, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Mark might have been sidelined, but he had made a difference. He had shown that one man, armed with nothing but the truth and a relentless commitment to justice, could stand up to the most powerful forces of corruption and emerge victorious. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like,